Hi guys, it is Dom here from the Hull Yes podcast with episode 2. Mark Sinfield from Bud Heron Promotions. A lot of people will know him from the music scene, putting on shows for the last 10 years and beyond in the city of Hull. We talk about favourite bands, we talk about favourite places to go in Hull, and just the passion for the people of this city. So I hope you enjoy this. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much. So, welcome to the Hull Yes podcast, episode 2. I'm sat here with my good pal Mark Sinfield from Bud Heron Promotions. But that's me talking about you. So I'm gonna Mark, I'm gonna leave it to you. Can you introduce those people that don't know you? Obviously, we have a small developing audience in the city of Hull. A lot of them will know who you are. But for those that don't know who you are, can you give me a little bit of background into who you are and what you do and your story?
Yeah, well, musically, I was a bit of a loose end. I'd always been a massive music fan. This is about 2010-ish. And it was the missus says, "Oh, why do you get involved in radio?" And I'm thinking, really? Right, how do you do that? And she says, "Oh, I've just seen this advert for some thing at North Lincolnshire that covers Humberside and Yorkshire, Estuary Radio." And I'm thinking, right, okay. But actually I thought, yeah, do you know what have I got to lose? I didn't have a clue, not a clue about anything or anything. I've always, my music's the rock era, back 70s, 80s, whatever. But I'd always tried to keep up to date with what was happening and what was being released and everything. So I just thought, yeah, do you know what? I'll go along with it. And I met this smashing bloke called Martin Lawrence, and he gave me a lot of confidence. Maybe I was lacking in that confidence. And he said, yeah, here it is. It's all internet based. It's no problem. And I started putting on my own shows. I was very naive to start with. I didn't have a clue what was involved. Quickly learned it, made lots of, again, contacts, put this music out on the radio, my stuff I wanted to hear, if you like. And then to cut a long story short, because it is a long story, Stuart Baxter from Warren Records, good old Stu, gets in contact with me and says, "Oh, hey up, Mark, you can put Hull. You can play some Hull music, can't you?" So I'm thinking, yeah, absolutely. More the merrier, another contact. And so this went on. Alan Raw gets in contact and we start this, conflict between the three of us about what I can play, what's a good idea. Alan invited me onto a couple of shows, and this is a while ago now, of course. Anyway, the move from there was I got contacted, I think it was because I was going to shows in Hull, but I mean, I'd not even been to the Fruit at this point. 2010, 2011, RIP the Fruit, by the way. And Howard Nicholas get in contact, and with Stu Baxter, Joe Hubbard, another name. I mean, I don't know, I'm not asked for any of this. They didn't need to say, come and see this. So without them, ultimately there'd be no shows. So I go and watch the whole crew. I go and watch the whole bands. I then play the whole bands on the radio. Everyone's really happy. I'm not naive to think that actually I was probably a good source at that point, but actually they were an even better source for me because I could see my career developing, if you like. And Howard says one point, "You can put a gig on." Really? How? And this is like 2012 by this point, probably. And I put my first gig on at the Fruit, the Chapman family with Kingsley, 2013, 11th of February 2013. So we're nearly getting to that 10-year anniversary.
Absolutely.
Again, I got to stress, without that help, took me under the wing. There'd be no Bud Heron, there'd be no nothing. But that's the whole folk for you for me. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Very welcoming community. And you came to promotion quite late, and we will talk a little bit more about your sort of tips and advice for promoters and some of your favourite bands in a second. But your life experience before, as much or as little as you want to go into that, how did that inform your life now? What skills did you take from who you were before into promotion, and how has that life experience informed what you do now and who you are?
I think the career I did before, it was one of those situations where I was able to speak to people on so many levels, having to do so. That helps a lot because I'm able to, I don't know, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I suppose these days it's a social skill to be able to talk to people, because we all live on this, don't we? And I'm no exception. I've had to learn it like all us oldies. But I think, yeah, it's being able to seek out people that I know, I can trust. You know, it's a cliche, isn't it? But realizing perhaps what I had to offer without realizing what I had to offer. If it wasn't for those people that I've mentioned in this thing already, I wouldn't have. Those people brought that confidence out in me. I'd always loved music, but I needed somebody to say, "Hey, up, Mark, you don't have to do what you're doing. Do this." And yeah, it's a yeah, it's been a really, really slow cathartic process, and I can't believe where I am. But it's because of those people having confidence in me, and me slowly having confidence in myself to do something else. You know.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And it's fantastic to see your journey. So then here's the difficult question. I'm putting you on the spot here. Who are some of your favorite bands in the local scene? We'll talk about some of your favorite bands nationally in a second, internationally even. But some of your favorite bands on the local scene, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the same as a lot of people at the minute. I've got to them Ketamine Cow. I think they are something special in this city. I do feel they need guidance, not me. But they do need guidance. Adam's a smashing fella, and I just think they've got that. You go to watch them, and it's just a wow factor. Same with Candid Faces. I really like Candid Faces. I really think they've got something going. Again, smashing people, and it's all about the people, as you know yourself. In this, you know, I'm trying to think of other people that I really like. Salvador, I've worked with many times. Great band, great kids, great blokes. Kids, listen to me. Atom of Luna's another one that's come up on the scene recently. I really like them. I saw them recently, and they've got something special, I think. Who else did I see recently? Bug Racer as well. Two piece. Again, I think coming out of Warren Records again. You know, this little pot of people that are given a stage and given help by those wonderful people there. Yeah, I mean, there's too many to mention, isn't it? But they're the people that excite me at the minute. The Black Ravines, got to mention them. Fantastic. Come out of the Cartels, new band, great front man in Callum, and I just like them as people, you know. And it's no surprise, as you know, the people that you like are the people that you want to work with. There's many people that have come through those doors at Adelphi that I've thought,
yeah,
might not be coming back so soon.
Yeah, absolutely. What about your favorite bands of all time? Give me some of some of that musical pedigree, the bands that informed who you are and all that.
Yeah, I come from very much a Black Sabbath background. I was a 16-year-old kid, 15, 16. Ozzy was God for me at this point. I love that heavy bass. Music doesn't have to be quick and thrashy for me. It's just got to be really loud and heavy. Motorhead, again, fantastic. It doesn't need to be quick, although it was at times. Led Zeppelin, of course. I got to mention Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. I come from that. Judas Priest. I come from that type of Deep Purple, throwing them in. I've seen all those as well, in various formats. But I think, again, moved from that era, and I moved into a different era. And it's bands like Smashing Pumpkins, Block Party. I mean, you know, it's like moved me in a completely different direction. I realized there was more to life, if you see what I mean. And I've even today, bands like, because I was, you know, I had a leather jacket with the tassels on the bike. Yeah, you know where I'm coming from. So you didn't entertain the Madness and the Specials and the Selector and all these bands that actually I've come to really like now. Because you weren't allowed to see, you weren't allowed to watch those bands, were you? You weren't allowed to listen to those bands because you'd be in trouble, mate. You know. But I've gone back and sought out all those bands. Coming to present day, I still like a rock band, but I do like a band that excites me. I don't, and I try to put gigs on. I know it sounds ridiculous, that I'm going to like. And I try and get, if you want to come, I've said to you before many times, if you want to come and join me and watch these bands, that's great, because this is a gig I'd go to anyway. The fact that I've organised it and I sit at the back, as you know, old man at the back, and watch it happen, that's great. Trying to think of some bands. I love Benefits. I love what they're doing at the minute. And I know it's connection with Kingsley, but wow, they're really out there. Shouty, they mean something. It's for real, isn't it? It's real stuff. That it's from the heart. You believe everything he's saying. John, again, I've seen him a few times over this year. Again, lovely people, fantastic people. You watch them on stage and they're thrashing around, you know, but when you get to speak to these people, they're just lovely people, you know.
Good. And
so that's my journey. I've tried to open myself up more and more to, you know, the fact I love this deep rock here, but there's so much more over here. And I love to find new bands. I'm always listening to new bands. I saw Bodega last night in York with Bull. A Bodega I've not seen before, not been to the Crescent before. It was a question of just getting out there and seeing bands as I try to do.
Yeah, it's interesting that passion that you exhibit for bands, and I've got to be careful here not to turn this into a Soundsphere interview, because we are talking about the Hull scene and Hull itself. So we're going to come up with some questions in a minute around your favourite things to do in Hull and things like that. But before that, I do want to ask you, what are the key things you've learned then as a promoter since the beginning of your career, that you would sort of impart on anybody watching this, anybody listening, anybody in the Hull scene that wants to put on shows? There are obviously young promoters that are asking you for advice these days. So what key things, lessons have you learned that you would pass on to anybody else in the Hull music scene on how to be a successful promoter and make a dent in the city scene?
Yeah, I think patience. I think don't expect anything from anybody ever. You have to go out and find it yourself. We can all sit back and we can do loads of things on the old computer, and we can watch this and we can watch that, but actually there's still no substitute for getting out and watching a live band. Do your research. Speak to these bands, approach these bands, you know, get to know these people personally. I now work with a lot of agents, as you do. You know, but that's a step up from dealing with the bands on a local level. Don't expect to get to that level until you've actually put on a local show with the local bands. Yeah, but patience, do your research. Don't expect to make any money out of it. Can't say that, can we? But it's true, isn't it? It's not what it's about for us, is it? No. It's not what it's about for us. It's about getting the right lineup, getting the right people. You know the crew in Hull. You know, there's 35, 40 people, bless them, that come almost to a lot of shows, and you know who I'm talking about. I won't name them, bless them all, because there's too many to name. We all know the people that turn up at all the places, and they're just, once again, it's the people, isn't it? But you don't meet those people until you go out and make those contacts. So yeah, don't rely on your phone. Obviously, be active on social media, but you've got to do it slowly. You've got to do it slowly. I mean, I'm 10 years in now, believe it or not, next year, and yeah, it is a confidence thing. I know what I'm doing now: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 from start to finish. But you have to do the one bit first. You have to get that first bit in. You know, hello, this is me. And actually, I've seen a lot of it recently. I mean, look at the sesh. It's a perfect night on the sesh. Go and speak to Mark. Go and speak to Dan. You know, see if they want a review of the sesh. If you want to do reviews, Hull is at the minute doesn't seem to have that core. I know that there's yourself, but nobody's actually going to gigs and doing reviews locally. No. If they are, I'm not aware of it, and I hold my hat up to, and I hold my hand up to that. But that's a great way of getting in, meeting the bands who always want the exposure. Meeting the photographers, even the bar staff. These are regular bar staff that, you know, just build that relationship. Build a relationship with the bands that you want to see, and work up to a level where you're actually safe talking to them. I mean, I'm quite happy for people to come to me and contact me and follow me doing a show from start to finish, if that's what people want to do. Yeah, you know, it's a difficult one, isn't it? But you only do it by, and I keep re-emphasising the point, go out, get out there. There's a lot of places in Hull. There's O'Reilly's, there's Off the Road, there's Adelphi, obviously, Social, all these little places that are putting on gigs, Wrecking Ball, all the little places that are putting on loads of gigs. They'll welcome you with open arms if you're keen and you're passionate and you don't want any money, perhaps. But yeah, do that review, meet the bands.
Yeah.
Meet the bands.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go out and meet people is a good lesson. You know, to follow up from that, then before we talk about your favourite bits in Hull, because again, this is a Hull centric podcast, I want to put you under pressure again. As a promoter, then, and as someone that's seen the whole music scene grow and develop, I guess you might get this a lot already, but can a Hull band succeed nationally, internationally? You know, obviously, as you've grown up and as I've grown up, we've gone through the ages of people saying Hull's music scene can't succeed, bands in Hull can't succeed, and things like that. So directly and honestly, what you know, can Hull bands succeed on a global level? And you know, and what are your thoughts on that, really?
I think they can. Hull isn't Manchester, but then you could say Manchester isn't Liverpool. Liverpool isn't Leeds. Leeds isn't Hull. We've all got our unique traits, our unique dialect, likes, dislikes, and folk. You know, Life, for example, is just a classic example. The band Life, that is. You know, humble beginnings, thrashing around in Hull, worked hard, but you've got to have a bit of help. You've got to have a bit of help done. You've got to, you know, once again, the BBC introducing helps with this, especially with the local radio stations. But they've gone on, you know, I would arguably say they're the biggest export out of Hull at the minute. I don't know of another one. Low Hummer, again. I mean, Dan's tread the boards for a long time as Lebet Blooms, hasn't he? And change of band members, change of sound. They're now getting out into the different places. But again, the advice, if there's any advice to any Hull bands out there, it's you know, don't play Hull very often. Play Hull 3 or 4 times a year. Get out into Leeds. And I know that's an easy thing to say, but if you're making those contacts, you're going to gigs perhaps out of Hull, then you're perhaps meeting those other bands. Those are the promoters. Those are the management. It can. It's a. How long have Life been around? You know, 5, 6, 7 years, 8 years to get to the level they're at now. It doesn't come overnight. None of this comes overnight. You know, it's not. If you can get that one big hit single, then that's fine. That's fine. But who does that? Who does that? Again, it's BBC introducing, it's helping it. It's the radio stations, word of mouth. You know, but no, they can succeed, Don, but they do need a lot of help. So there are people out there, you know, scouts, call it what you like, who can see you and work with you, because it becomes a management. You need management. You need the agents on board. You need the bookers on board. It's a long process, isn't it? You get, you know, you're not going to get to Universal and Sony level, are you? Unless you put the yards in.
Yeah, it's that work ethic there, and I think there are other examples. You know, Chady Waraka in the hip hop scene has millions of streams. Millions of streams on Spotify and on YouTube and things. So there are other examples outside of our scene, the rock and indie scene. Before we sort of finish up on sort of some Hull-based questions, then favorite things you love about Hull, I would like to get to know you a bit more outside of music. What are the biggest inspirations that you have outside of music, outside of work? So obviously people, places. What is it that you like to do? What motivates you outside of your work as a promoter?
Interesting. I love to cycle. I'm a big cyclist. It's good for the headspace. Again, I love being out on my own. It sounds bizarre, just me, countryside, nature, whatever. So I like to cycle, do a lot of walking. I've just bought myself a running shoes, don't laugh, to see if I can shed a bit of weight. It's difficult. Inspirations. Yeah. It doesn't really come much bigger than music in my life, to be honest, Dom. It's what I've always sought to do, and the fact that I'm in it now, I literally live and breathe it, as I'm sure you do. I do have some downtime to spend with family. family holidays are important to me. Family meals are important to me. Seeing family across the way. I've got lots of links with Brighton. My mum's just come up from there, so I still go down to Brighton quite a lot. I love traveling. My one desire at 58 years of age is to see a bit of the world now. So I've got to try and combine putting on gigs and saying no to lots of people, as you know yourself, to try and fit in. It's almost, can I fit this band in my life? Which is great. It's a great situation to be in. I'm very happy in my life. I'm very content in my life. But that doesn't come again overnight. We have to go through these trials and tribulations of family life and disappointments and ups and downs to get to a place where you actually think, you know what, life's good.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to hear you are content, mate. You well deserved. I've known you for a long time and you've put a lot of effort in, and it's good to see you are where you are now. So, again, this podcast is around, inspiring people to think more about Hull as a destination, as a place to go, as a place for the music scene, etc., etc. Food and drink, things like that. So, where are your favourite places to visit in Hull? Obviously, you mentioned some bars, your Polar Bear music venues. What about places to eat? What about places to drink? Where would you, if you could, if this was going out to someone in New York or wherever, where would you tell them to go if they were visiting Hull?
Adelphi, yeah. No, Hull has progressed in terms of its music senses. I mean, we got the Bonus Arena now. I know it's some place that a lot of people know about now because of City of Culture. I think for me, that was the only legacy from there. I've only been a couple of times. But yeah, I mean, I do like Princess Avenue is a hub on an evening. I think you've got some great restaurants down there as you head towards a certain venue or out another way. My whole life spent about venues, Dom, isn't it, really? Trying to think where I ate at Larkin's the other night. That was nice. Before I went to, what was it, on last week? I've gone down Humber Street. There's a couple of nice places there. I don't go to Social enough. I popped in to see Mark a couple of times, but not enough. The Humber Street area is being developed. I know it has. Has it lost anything? I'm not sure. Has it gained anything? I'm not sure. The marina area is beautiful. I often park up and I just walk down Princess Street there and go across the bridge early morning. It's beautiful. Watch the boats in the sea. I mean, that's timeless and priceless. That people can't believe it, can they, when they come into Hull and see that? And the beautiful bridge, for goodness sake, that I cross every single day of my life almost. People come down and have to go from Yorkshire to Lincolnshire. They say they've got to cross the bridge. They don't even know it existed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a remarkable piece of engineering that arguably goes nowhere. But what a fantastic thing for the city. You see all the badges, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you're very right. Okay, brilliant. Well, all right. So again, on the spot question, your favorite thing about Hull overall? What is it that you love most? I'm going to use the word love because I want you to really think about what do you love most about Hull?
No doubt about it. It's the people that associate with going to gigs. The people, the incredible crowd. I don't want to name them. There must be at least 35, 40 people that is there that can be at Social, can be at Delphi, can be at O'Reilly's. And these are friendships that have made for life. I mean, I went with Graham Lill yesterday out to, in the car, out to York, and I met two lovely people that I'd never met before. They're now, another part of this group. I'm pretty sure it's unique. I'm pretty sure it's unique that they go out to Leeds and out to Middlesbrough and out to Newcastle, do Twisterella and Stockton Calling, all these things. They're at every single thing. I'd love to have time to do all this with these people who I consider really, really good friends now. And that would never have come without music. But that again is the whole encompassing whole folk that are truly remarkable. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now if it wasn't for the friendliness and the time of certain people. I just wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. So and life is about the people, Don. Absolutely about the people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can do what you want whenever you want, but actually, if it's not with the right people, you're not really enjoying life, are you?
No, that's true. Some wise words there. As an extension of that, then, because obviously you mentioned the people there and the importance of people. Um, what would you like to say then to, you mentioned obviously your wife got you started in all this, you mentioned some names there, your Alan Rawls, your Stu Baxters. What would you like to say to those people that have supported you, in your career before this, in your career now, and those that will continue to support you, the members of the music scene, the people of Hull? What would you like to say to those people, who have got behind you and will continue to do so?
Well, it's just a massive thank you. I am who I am. I don't try and be anything other than I am. I try. I'd love to be involved more. I do tend to sit at the back now. I still say old man at the back, but I often am. I love jumping up and down, but it's the same way that I can't wear a whole band t-shirt. It's like, oh, hang on. Anyway, back to the question. Yeah, a massive thank you to all the support I get for all the gigs. I couldn't do it without you. I really, really couldn't do it without you. We've built these friendships over the last 10 years that will last a lifetime. And, I mean, Stu Baxter, I see Stu dotted around. I saw him at a few festivals with Pre-Skate and everything, another band, Pre-Skate. Yeah, fantastic people. And bottom of my heart, I wouldn't be what I'm doing without those people. And I love being a part of this whole community. Really, really special people.
Absolutely, yeah. That overriding theme of special people in the city is why we're doing this right now. And I get to finish off then. Obviously, we've covered a bit of stuff here. Do you think there's anything we've missed? Is there anything you'd like to plug? This is coming out in a couple of weeks. So what have I missed? Is there anything else you'd like to plug before we finish up?
All the gigs. We've got Budfest coming up next year. John, Frauds, Black Ravines, and then we've got the Saturday full of Fire, Lambrini Girls, Hazy Janes, Fuzz Lightyear, the Nouvos, Last of the Wonder Kids, Slap Rash, Evil Litter. Done well to remember all that lot. I've got FEMA on Thursday from Sheffield, who I really like. This probably will go out after that, I would think. Creature, band from Manchester. I described them as Black Sabbath on acid. It's pretty much what they are. Come see them on a Wednesday night at Adelphi. That'll be something special with the Escape Artist and ADHD, who I'm a big fan of. So yeah, I'm busy still. I'm not going to do as much next year. I'm not. But yeah, gigs are great, and gigs just, it's about motivation, isn't it? And it's about that job satisfaction. And I get it all in doing a gig. You know yourself, if you don't get a phone call on the day of the gig, you did it right.
Did a good job. That's fantastic. Well, Mark, thank you so much for sharing a bit of yourself with me today and talking about what you love most about Hull. That is what this is about. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.